do so, we might just save our country and our souls.
Good evening. I'm Congresswoman Deb Haaland. I'm grateful to be with you here on Indigenous land. The promise of this country is older than our Constitution. Over 500 years ago, thousands of Indian tribes were vibrant, democratic societies with rich cultures and traditions in communities that had sustained them for millennia on lands they loved and respected. My people, the Pueblo Indians, migrated to the Rio Grande Valley in the late 1200s to escape droughts. We were led to the Great River and its tributaries, where we established to this day. My people survived centuries of slavery, genocide, and brutal assimilation policies, but throughout our past, tribal nations have fought for and helped build this country. There were those like my Laguna grandparents who worked on our country's railroad, and those like my mother, a Navy veteran who served this country with honor. I stand here today, a proud 35th generation New Mexican and one of the first Native American women ever elected to Congress. I'm a symbol of our resilience as the embodiment of America's progress as a nation. I know we can't take our democracy for granted, especially now as people are dying, as our land is abused, as our Constitution is under attack. We must work for it by getting involved, by registering voters, by voting. Voting is sacred. My people know that. We weren't universally granted the right to vote until 1962, and that fundamental right is more important than ever. Whether your ancestors have been here for hundreds of years or you're a new citizen, know this. Whether we vote and how we vote will determine if our nation's promise of social, racial, and environmental Joe Biden and They will see us through this crisis of leadership that is plaguing our country, and they will help us to build a better future. Thank you. The first year that I voted was 1974. 1967.
I have not missed a general or a primary election in my 51-year voting history.
Now I don't go to the polls anymore. The U.S. Postal Service does it for me.
And now we're seeing our current president sabotage our right to vote, sabotaging democracy by trying to undo the postal system.
My father worked for the Postal Service for 30 years.
My mother worked for that local post office.
Where are they going? Where are these ballots going? Who's getting them? Who is not getting them? Little section that's Republican. Will they be stolen from mailboxes as they get put in by the mailman? Will they be taken from the mailmen and the mailwomen? Will they be forged? Who is signing them? Who's signing them? What, are they signed at a kitchen table and sent in? Will they be counterfeited by groups inside our nation? Will they be counterfeited maybe by the millions by foreign powers?
Let me put this in my own words. I've heard Donald Trump say some pretty unhinged things. I've heard them over and over and over again. But nothing is more dangerous to our democracy than his attacks on mail-in voting during a pandemic. Okay, here's the truth. Donald Trump doesn't want any of us to vote because he knows he can't win fair and square.
She's colored too.
So whether you plan to vote by mail or in person wearing your mask, it is your vote and it's your right. Don't let Donald Trump
What does
take
colored
that
mean
away
again?
from you. For accurate, up-to-date
We're
voting
colored.
information that you can trust, text VOTE to 30330. One more time, text VOTE to 30330.
I'm Alex Padilla, California Secretary of State.
And I'm Jocelyn Benson, the Secretary of State of Michigan.
Voting is the oxygen of our democracy. It decides elections, and elections change lives. That's why we've seen so many attacks on our right to vote, including many that specifically target working families, young people, and communities of color.
Every vote is counted and every voice is heard. We serve on the front lines defending our democracy against any and all attacks, foreign and domestic.
So let's talk about this election. Despite what he says, Donald Trump can't cancel it. But he and Republicans are making it too hard for so many to cast their ballots. And now he's attacking vote by mail to distract and confuse voters.
And let's be clear, there is absolutely zero difference between voting by mail and voting absentee. Millions of Americans have been voting absentee for decades. Donald Trump, his family, his staff, they all vote by mail. In fact, in states like Colorado, Utah, and Oregon, voters have been voting by mail for years. Republicans and Democrats agree it is safe.
But now, Trump has admitted he's trying to sabotage the post office to undermine voting by mail. And we're not going to let him do that. Our job is to make sure everyone can vote safely, whether in person or by mail. And your job is to make
Once you've done that, talk to your friends and neighbors. Spread the word. Tell everyone you know to text VOTE to 30330 for more voting options. If you're planning to vote from home, request and return your ballot early. And remind everyone you know
We must
to
vote for
make a
Biden.
plan to
Biden's
vote.
the guy.
Don't let anyone keep you from exercising your most sacred right. Make your plan to vote. Grab your mask and head to the polls the first day they're open. Or request your ballot and send it in right away. And know this, election results may take a little longer this year, but Democrats will fight to make sure your ballot is counted.
Because at the end of the day, the biggest role in preserving our democracy isn't ours, it's yours.
Our family has a crazy history with America, and it all starts with it being a beacon for immigrants. It's really cool being like part Polish and part Puerto Rican and also part Black, because I get to, for me personally, I get to be this like melting pot of America.
If you were an immigrant back then, come from an immigrant family, the Democrats brought you in. We are in danger of losing the meaning of this country.
Every generation before us has had to fight for what they believe in.